All right, so I'm excited. We got Billy Alt here. I had the opportunity to really meet him and get to know him. We've known each other through the world of Facebook, but really got to know each other on an amazing experience and trip to the Bahamas here a little over a week ago. Billy's with owns 700 Credit Repair, and just excited to have you, man. Thank you for being here.
Man, thank you so much, Dan. I'm equally as excited. So I'm excited to talk to you and see what we can stir up here and have a little fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that was evident, from the first second meeting you and really getting to spend some time with you, was that you're a fun guy to be around. So the first thing I like to ask all of our guests is, championship leadership. When I first came up with that name, I wasn't super sure about it, but it has grown on me. And I like to ask, what's the first thing that you think of when you hear championship leadership?
And I love it. I absolutely love it. Hearing you say it, I kind of smiled a little bit because, I mean, those are two different words, but they're so much the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the message to me is clear. It's like, leadership skills from a champion, or their championship mindsets from a leader. I mean, it just ties in together. So I love it. I think it's great. That's the name of the podcast now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the name of the podcast. And
well, didn't you had named it? Was it named something else? Have you recently changed it or no?
No, this was always the name. I've been bouncing around with different names for coaching programs and all the other businesses that I've had and books and things like that. But this is one that it's like the coaching program. What are you going to call that? And it's like, well, my podcast is Championship Leadership. It's like, well, there you go. That's an awesome name. And everyone that I've said that to has been like, yeah, that's
what we were talking about.
Yeah.
At the deal out there at the Bahamas. We were talking about the coaching program name.
Yeah.
I love the name. I don't think it could be any better, especially knowing you and what you stand for and what you're about and who you are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love it, man. Kudos. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, tell us, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, and we'll get into this conversation around championship leadership, and how did you get to where you are today? Inside of your business, inside of your life.
I'll give you the quick rundown. Graduated high school at 18 years old. My pops was a used car salesman his whole life. My mom sold mobile homes. So, I just wasn't one to sit around the classroom and look at a chalkboard. I just wanted to do other stuff. So I got into the manufactured home business very young. I was 19 years old, right out of high school, and worked my way up through there. And, at 18, 19, 20 years old, when you're selling a $60,000, $70,000 home to a 60-year-old couple, I had to work twice as hard. So, and I did. I was willing to. I had an unbelievable mentor and coach who was my boss above me. And when I turned 24, we had 17 stores in the company, and I was selling manufactured homes. The big deal back then was to get to be a general manager, get to run your own lot, which sounded great until I got out there and done it and figured it out and stuff. But, we were responsible for hiring, firing, developing, coaching, training, follow-up calls, ads, implementing programs, P&L, ordering of the houses, making sure they're ordered right, inventory, $2 million worth of product on the lot. So it was a big, service, the admin side of it, ordering the houses, all that stuff. So I learned very quickly that one thing drives everything, and that's sales. That's just the way it is. The back end didn't matter if I wasn't producing.
Yeah.
So, and I love sales. My dad was a salesman. I grew up on a car lot with him, spending summers with him on the lot. So I put my focus and energy into what had gotten me successful over those last 3 to 4 years in the sales arena. And that was a proven sales process, the right mindset, and walking in every day with one thing in my mind. That was, if it didn't have to do with selling a mobile home today, I'm not messing with it. One, I can't afford to mess with it. Two, I mean, why would I? I can call in sick or go home or go, pack groceries somewhere if that's what I want to do. So I was very serious about my career. I learned also, the higher I got up, inside the company, sales manager, financing was where it's at. So at that time, we had probably 25 to 30 lenders, and they all had different programs. So knowing how to work that finance desk that's why I am where I am today.
Yeah.
Long story short, I worked for Palm Harbor Homes Limited Company. Took the number 17 store in the company to, we went public, opened up a total of 150 stores. I was a big part of that. Ran a division out in East Texas. And man, I just got to the point in my life where I thought, you know, I'm just not going anywhere. I'm literally capped out in corporate America where I'm at. And it was never fulfilling to me. And, you know, I just thought, man, even if I only make 20%, if it's all mine, I mean, I can make ends meet. It wasn't about that. Corporate America had some different values, and I was out in East Texas and, you know, so on and so forth. So we were a hometown mobile home dealer. We weren't, you know, corporate America. But what I did learn that a sales process and those tools are a necessity to be successful. So I opened a dealership. 2 years later, Governor Perry here in Texas passed what's called House Bill 1869. If you own property in the state of Texas, then you have to surrender the title of the mobile home, affix it, you know, put it permanently, affix it to the property, put an aerobic septic in, and it just priced the whole market out of the game.
Yeah.
The other problem in East Texas, if you're grandpa and you own 10 acres, you can put your trailer house on behind the barn, but I'm not going to cut you out an acre for the bank to take over. So it literally killed the industry. We went down to like from 30 lenders, no joke, to probably 2 or 3 in a matter of weeks. So I found myself, you know, I wasn't corporate America at that time. There, you know, I didn't have the pockets they did. So I ended up closing my dealerships. I had 3 dealerships, closed my dealerships, went through a very nasty divorce. And, you know, I just needed to regroup and rebrand and just do something different. Yeah. So in 2006, I moved from Tyler, Texas up to Dallas, and started buying and selling wholesale houses, flipping houses. And the one thing that all my clients had in common were they had credit issues. And I had dealt with it since I was 19 years old. The majority of our clients that we helped, we had to do some sort of credit restoration, credit work, building credit, removing credit or whatever. So, you know, I didn't want to get back in the manufactured housing business. I really didn't want to get back in the real estate game just because I just wanted out of that side of the housing deal altogether. Yeah. And, man, I was determined not to, you know, spend what little money I had left and waste it, but I did want to try this. So I bought $750 worth of yard signs and I put them out, and I knew if I could sell them, I knew my wife would be able to process them on the back end, and because we had been learning the laws and you know, we were pretty good at it. She had a full-time job. I had remarried when I moved to Dallas, like a couple of years later, a year and a half later. And so I literally bought $750 worth of yard signs, put them out, got yelled at, screamed at, cussed at, called, hung up on, you name it. But man, I was like, this is a real business. And if I have to make 100 people angry because of a yellow yard sign on the corner of an intersection, to help one family with a 550 credit score get into a house, man, I know I can do that. I know I can do that. Yeah. And so with my determination and Melissa, my wife on the back end, pushing me and being my cheerleader, it just kind of morphed into this. One thing I missed, and me and you've talked about this, I felt like it was me against the business world. I mean, credit repair is a dirty industry. It's got an ugly name. Yeah. You know, so a few years back, I guess about 4 years ago, I bumped into Ryan Stewman, and I, at that point, chose to hire him as my personal coach, mentor. And man, we've doubled. The first year I got with him, we probably, 25% increase in sales. The second year, 25% increase in sales, while lowering our overhead. So, you know, and I attribute a lot of that to him, to the you know, keeping me in that mindset, and that, you know, and believe me, there was a lot of 10 years of work that went in between there. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was just staying steady, and I'm to the point. I wrote a book this last year. Yeah. And to the point, we all have to work, and I'm, you know, nowhere near retired, but I don't do this for the money. I honest to God, I don't. I just don't. Yeah. Man, it's very refreshing. You see this stuff in the groups when somebody comes, you know, back at you 30, 60, 90 days later and says, hey, man, we just qualified for a house that I thought I'd never be able to get. You know, so like or having a lady drop by and drop off a bundt cake or banana pudding or whatever. So, you know, that's what keeps me going and what fires me up. And plus the fact I get to hang out with guys like you, and I'm sitting here at my house right now on a Monday afternoon. And, you know, but again, I think that's all part of entrepreneurship. And you know, I've also been at that office until 3 o'clock in the morning, many nights.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
Fortunately, you know, hard work and clean living pays off.
Well, yeah. I mean, you touched on a lot there. That's an incredible story. So that was about what, 12 years ago or so.
I moved up here in '07 and started the company in '07.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
years, yeah. Well, almost 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you talked about, you know, championship leaders. You know, I think when I think to like football, right, you got Bill Belichick, you got Nick Saban at Alabama, just like dudes that just win all the time, right? And they're just incredible leaders, just championship level leaders. And and they're never satisfied. And it's kind of like what you're talking about in the corporate job. You kind of saw like the ceiling, and you know, for a lot, that's okay, like that, and that is okay, and that's good for them, but it's not good for guys like us, right? That we're just like, you're just not meant for that, and that's why you are where you are today, is because, you know, you want to do your own thing, and you're an incredible leader in what you built, from where you were to putting signs in like on the corner of the intersection, people's yards, and then to really hear you know, how much you care about the clients. It's not all about money for you. It's like, it's super rewarding for you to be able to do that and help someone get into a home that they never even thought would be a possibility for them, and how amazing that feels and fulfilling that is. And
yeah, for
sure. That's what I think championship leadership is really all about. Now you talked early when in the manufactured home business, there was a mentor of yours, and what were some of the biggest leadership characteristics that you saw from that guy that,
you know, he was
stuck out?
First off, he was fearless. He knew that, you know, he was the best, so he surrounded himself with the best. He had a certain way that he wanted to do business, and he didn't waver from that. He kept the company small, and, you know, his name was Scott Cheney. And in fact, this is a great story. When we went public, he sold the company. Actually, before we went public, he sold the company for $54 million. Had a 5-year deal to stay on, and when he left is when corporate America really took over. That's when manufacturing started running retail, and things just changed. And even how we treated people. But anyway, Scott went on. He opened a huge company called Explore USA. It's a travel trailer company, and I think they're like #1 in the United States. I mean, he's grown that thing to, I mean, I don't know how many locations he has, but a bunch. But he actually, a rumor on the street is he just sold it, and I don't know what the number's nuts, but he just sold it to AutoNation, bought his whole dealership, and I know that they were probably netting $1 million a month. So I mean, it's got to be $100 million deal. Yeah. But you know, I mean, when I was at Palm Harbor, and they're a great company, don't get me wrong, great benefits. I wasn't working that much. I really wasn't, you know, but I'd been there for so long. Hell, I was making upwards of almost $1 million a year. My best year with them was about $800,000, and I had done it for years and years and years. You know, and I had some very, very big wins with that company. Don't get me wrong. We go to Hawaii trips every year. My CSI was 97%. But man, I just felt like I was just capped and limited, and the environment back then, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were so many clients, so many people looking for mobile homes. You know, if you didn't have a 650, 700 credit score, I mean, we were taught not to even show you a house. So, you know, it's like, I hear a lot of car guys say the same thing. Customer comes in, we pull their credit. If they don't want to pull it, we'd say, well, we can't help you buy. And if we did pull it and it was, I mean, if it was less than, you know, perfect, I mean, it was like, we can't help you, go find somebody that can. And I know how those customers felt, because I've been there, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that was a big challenge for me to the more I grew and the less corporate was, you know, the values were just getting to like sell, only spend time with people who can buy today. You know, it just was just not what we had created in the beginning. A lot of guys left. And, you know, and I understand that as a business owner, but I also understand you can't treat people one way and have a business run another. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big part of my motivation, but damn, nobody told me how hard it was going to be. Nobody told me what that big yellow sign out in the front yard meant. You know, I thought, I'm going to go in next door to them, no problem, take my staff. And I did, but like, there's a lot of power in the sign, you know?
Yeah.
It was tough, but I learned a lot from it.
Yeah. So what do you see in how you lead and how, what you built and the company that you built and the employees that you have and people that are working with you?
For me, consistency is everything.
Yeah.
It's if I could teach my guys, my son is I'm grooming him to take over my credit repair company one of these days, not anytime soon. But
Yeah.
what I stress to him and to my sales managers and my team leaders and my processing managers and stuff, it's consistency is everything. I mean, whether it's marketing, advertising, what they say about you, what they think about you, it doesn't matter. People, our big thing is we have guys come in, and I have them sign a non-compete and everything, but they'll come in and they think it's just simple. So they'll all of a sudden one day they leave us and they steal all of our forms and they open a Facebook page, and next thing you know, they're a credit repair specialist and they're selling credit repair.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, Nate, they don't understand, like, you can't even get a merchant account in that industry. I've got a $200,000 a month merchant line. I mean,
Yeah.
I can take payments, no problem. Like, you guys have no idea what it took to set that up.
Right.
And all that stuff. Or, I mean, our industry, it's tough to get financing. It's tough to, I'm talking about equipment financing, copier financing, phones, lease, renter. You go try to rent a building, they find out you're a credit repair owner, and it's just suddenly they don't want to do business with you. You know what I'm seriously. So that's what those guys don't understand and don't see. And I've not had one succeed yet, and I don't wish them to fail at all. I wish them to come to me. I'll help them and partner up with them and go open a company with them and show them how easy it can be,
Yeah.
But, I just tell my guys, like, guys, keep your, because they get a little bent out of shape, like, oh, so-and-so's over here posting our results that, or whatever. And I'm like, man, it's short-lived. It's short-lived. Don't say nothing. Don't tag. Don't comment on the picture. We'll send them a letter. Don't, just stay consistent. And that's really, really, really proven to be so true for us, especially like on social media, on Facebook, on all of my marketing. I mean, it's taken us a long time to get here, but we're as stable of a company as there is in my industry, with the exception of the Lexington laws and those, these huge conglomerates, whatever. But as far as independently owned mom and pop credit repair shop, I don't, we're right there with the best of them, but we're very consistent in our message. We're consistent in our work. I have core values that we live by. If you don't want to do your job, I mean, that's fine. You don't have to, but our core values say this. And if you're going to affect those in any way other than positive, then, I mean, I can't let my other team be taken down by your tactics or what your thought process, whatever it may be. So, for me, consistency, clear cut, clear defined goals, rules, core values, whatever you want to call them, and then staying consistent in the message we put out, staying consistent in, if somebody doesn't do their job, if you send me a client and when somebody doesn't call them, that's a terrible message. So we pull that out. That's a cancer in my organization. That, I'm a strike three policy person. It doesn't matter it does not matter. My customer's always right. There's 2 times they're right, day and night. Like, that's what we live by. And man, anybody can be a credit repair guy. There's not many great ones. Anybody can do customer service. Not everybody can do great customer service. You know what I'm saying? So I know you get it. I mean, we've had this conversation. So that's really been the one thing for us. And that's the one message that, and I know the older I get, the more I realize the truth of that, how consistency pays off.
Yeah, it's a powerful one. And, I can think back to, as a lieutenant being deployed in a platoon, and it's a huge one, right? I mean, because you're always being watched, like you're always communicating the message. Your team is always watching you to see what you're doing. And are you consistent? Are you the same with this person as you are with this one? Are you the same in this situation as you are in that one? And, they're picking up on it. They're reading it. Your customers are seeing that. Everyone sees that consistency and whether it's happening or not. And it is rare. Right. It's very rare for someone to,
because it's hard.
It's hard. It's really hard.
That's why
it's to make the tough decisions, but that's what, be a championship leader, you're going to have to make some tough decisions, like probably every single day. Right. And they're not fun. There's hard conversations that are tied up in that. You got to confront people. You got to let people know that you might really like. or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's no surprise to hear that from you, and to know, to see the success that you have because of that. And really, when it comes down to it, the people that you impact because of it too, right?
Oh, for sure. Because if I do hire my buddy, or I do let so and so get by with this, or we forget to do this letter certified, I mean, I mean, I take when I tell somebody I'm going to do something, I do. If I say I'm going to do my best and give it my all, I can't guarantee you that I'll get this account removed. But what I can guarantee you is that package, that whole dispute process, that whole plan we lay out, it'll be the best one. But if one monkey wrench gets thrown in the middle of that, I just lied. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, man, we don't miss certified letters. We don't do this. We don't not call customers back. You know, things fester, things swell. And the way I've learned the best was trial and error. I mean, you know, me beating the streets on a trailer. Anything I've done wrong, or anytime my employees, staff, anybody, I take something from it. It's like, how am I going to prevent that in the future? Because they're only human. I had a clear-cut, defined training process that was still missed. Maybe I got a checklist. You know, how do we make sure that Kim does not forget to return a phone call? How do we make sure that Joe does not forget to put a stamp on an envelope? I mean, there has to be, you know, checks, balances, whatever systems, processes in place. And like, I'm the best at it. I could build a house off of a spreadsheet, you know, like get deposit, return the credit. I mean, it's just that simple. And that's how I run my business. You know, it's like, do the verbal credit analysis, pull credit, get IDs. Does driver's license address match? Is social security, last name correct? Whatever. Anytime we get a letter kicked back or whatever, you know, if there's something that we're missing or whatever, we catch it and regroup and lay it out. But you know, it's just, I just want to do stuff right if I'm going to do it.
Yeah, so systems process is a big part of what you do then too, obviously.
Huge. Right? Yeah, I'm a big process and systems guy, storybook guy. I mean, I just am. I've seen the power of it. I've seen me as a mobile home salesperson take a store that was doing, you know, 15, 18 houses a month to 60, 65, 70, number one in the United States, over not just that company, over all companies. So, and all I did was implement a storybook and follow the process. But I didn't know anything else. I didn't know any better or any other way to do it. And I'd rather follow a proven process, or, you know, I'm not a reinvent the wheel kind of guy. I don't care how a watch ticks or how it works. I just want to know, A, if it looks good, and two, if it tells time. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, is it my style? And does it I don't care how it's built. That's not my job, you know, but I don't know. I think that also one common thing that we all have in common, I just keep things simple. When I start overcomplicating, overthinking, and I think that comes with experience also. Yeah. Man, if you just do it this way, history says this is the outcome. Why would you change it? Now, believe me, I'm an innovator in my industry, and I think outside the box, and we do all kind of different stuff. But I'm also one to come right back and say, pump the brakes on that one. That's a terrible decision, or that was a terrible investment, or let's go back this way. Like, you know, that wasn't as broke as what we thought it was. I mean, I'm all about trying new stuff, but, you know, as far as just a simple sales process, run and catch on a customer, or whatever it may be, it's like, man, that stuff's been working since the caveman days. Why mess with that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's this tendency for people to want to make things complex, like you said, for whatever reason, almost to the point of like, if it's so simple, it's like there's no way it could work, right? But and then you say, like, through experience, find out all those times trying to make it more harder than it really needs to be, and all you had to do was just stick to the checklist or the system, the process, and follow the steps.
I'll tell you, my best salespeople all the time. I've got a guy that's been with me 6 years. I've got another one 4 years. I've got some longevity. But when I get a new guy that comes in, and I like them to know credit. I like them to have been like in the mortgage industry or something like that. But when they come in and they do not think they know credit repair, you know, we don't fix the credit. We sell the process. We explain how. But you know, so it doesn't matter if I know it or not. My girls in the back know how to do it. And these guys don't understand that. They want to overcomplicate things and talk about FICO this and Vantage that. And my customers don't care. They want to get into a house, and they want to get into a house by Christmas. It doesn't matter how you're going to manipulate the score, or just tell me what to do and we'll do it. And my rookies that come in, like, they don't even know any better. They just follow the script. And
Yeah.
they're the ones that do 20, 30 deals a month and sell the most and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And then my veterans, they're always way up here. Then they want to simplify it. And then they want to overcomplicate it. And they want to talk too much. And they're like that. At the end of the year, I'll almost take my rookies every single time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's funny because in my industry, when they get around that 6-month mark, either they get great and stay great and they do them and they do their thing,
Yeah.
or they're up and down, and then they finally just down themselves right out of my organization because they just they don't ever bounce back from it.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with salespeople my whole life.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. That's a good transition for, whenever I talk to, or anytime you see a championship leader, like, you come back to Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, they've been fired. Like, no one remembers the time that they were fired from Cleveland or fired from the coaching job that they had at one time to get where they are today. Is there a time in your life where you can think, most of us have a time or two where we're just like that turning point where it's just like, could have very easily just kind of threw it all away and just took the easy route the other way, and which would have had you being someplace completely different than you are today, versus like kind of taking that road less traveled and the path that most championship leaders end up having to take. Not the popular path necessarily, but the one that got them to where they are, to make them who they are today. So is there anything that really kind of pops out to your mind in your life that got you to where you are today?
When I left Palm Harbor, that was probably the hardest decision of my life.
Yeah.
It was scary. I was going through some bad marital problems at the time. Excuse me. So I felt like, it was just almost like, I don't even know that this is even worth fighting for at this point. I started my dealership and was starting going through a divorce, and we lost all of our financing. And, so for me, it was all or nothing. It was like, I'm going through this divorce. It's time to pull the plug on this company. And like I had said earlier, I didn't even want to get back in the mobile home business. What if I had to? Sure. But it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I looked and I didn't work for probably a year. I stuck my head in the sand for about a year and just didn't do anything. I didn't. And finally one day I looked and I looked at myself in the mirror and it was just like, what, I got to get out of this funk. I mean, like, what can I do to make me happy? What can I do? And I love my boys, my kids more than anything, believe me. But at that point, I wasn't doing anybody any good. So it was like, I've got to do me. I have to do something. So we were in town, 90,000 people, divorce. My boys went to a private Catholic school there in town. So I was in the wrong spot. I mean, I was the villain. I was the one that closed the company. I was the one that, left my wife, which is not at all what happened. But, I couldn't run around with a sign on my shoulder saying, hey, here's what really happened. It didn't matter what happened.
Yeah.
And I wasn't one to whine, but I just felt like, I need to get out of this environment. So me moving 90 miles up the highway from Tyler to Dallas, away from my two boys who I'm extremely close with, to get away from a situation that I was in, to put us in a better place now. I mean, I was willing to do that.
Right.
And that's been, that was back in like 06, I guess. And Cole runs my oldest son runs my sales department now, lives with me. My oldest one, or my next one down, just got a job at Lockheed Martin. He's moving to Dallas. So, I mean, I couldn't have a better relationship with them. And, so that none of that was affected, but I was consistent in my message to them that I was their father. They didn't have a stepdad. They had a stepdad, and he's very good to them.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like, he's an addition, not a replacement. And again, you go back to consistency. But for me, it was like, I don't know, Nate. I could have went either way. I really could have. I could have went to work at Walmart and smoked cigarettes out in the parking lot and went a bottle. I really didn't care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that was the moment. I mean, right? I mean, making the tough decision to leave that situation to, in a way, kind of like, create some distance between you and your sons that are the world to you, and yet
it was almost like a clean start. You know what I'm saying? I needed to,
but not an easy decision, right? And you had no idea that it was going to end up where you are today, right? I mean, there's no, I mean, you just belief in yourself, I would imagine, and scared, but still just taking steps one in front of the other to be where you are today. So yeah.
What's fascinating about where we're at today as a society. I have 4 kids that all went to college. My youngest daughter we're going down next weekend to Tech to watch her graduate. But shit, I lost my train of thought. What were you? I started thinking about my kids and I get off. What did you just say? What were you just saying?
Yeah, we were just talking about the path that you took, and there was no guarantees, and just kind of, one step in front of the other, and
Yeah. I totally was getting off. I started thinking about my kids. I go a different way, but I look at them, and I know what college has cost, and I know what it's done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But looking back now through that process, that's why I'm so intrigued about like what you do and some of these other coaches or mentors or just leaders in general. I mean, because I'm pretty strong-willed, and you obviously are too, and very strong-minded. But man, I just know that I was in a terrible, terrible place, and we're lucky now because there's other, there's groups out there, guys you talk to, and like. But at that time, I had nobody on my cheerleading squad. Believe me.
Yeah, right.
And it felt like it was me against the world.
Yeah.
And when you have that, or you think through that, or you're like, laying in bed thinking about that. It's just, like there's better places to be, obviously. And, we'll pay $25,000 a year to send a kid to college where, I mean, I invest that in myself now. It's like,
yeah.
If I'll put 4 kids through college and do that, and I know what it does for them, maybe there is something in this mentorship or this leadership or this leadership. And again, mine started out with marketing and all that stuff, but hell, man, Brian's my life coach. You know what I'm saying? He's
right.
And my oldest son, he'll pop off and say, "Oh, actually, you just pay him to be your friend." I'm like, I do pay him to be my friend. Brutally honest with me. He's the only person that is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but like it's like, that's my leaning post or whatever. And looking back on everything that I went through, now had I had that, I don't know that I would have gotten out of the rut I was in quicker or not, but it would have been more comforting to come through. So I've learned a lot coming through that and bouncing through that and all that stuff. But I ain't trying to say I was over here, gun to my temple like some people will tell you, because I that wasn't who I was. That was not an option for me.
Yeah, yeah.
But then just whenever I'm, hauling around my kid's motorcycle in the back of a rented SUV, a little Mazda or whatever, or I'm looking through a coffee can to get change to drive them home. That wasn't an option for me for very long, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I've been there, and I guess after even being there and going through that, it's like, man, people are mean. You know what I'm saying? People don't care, and that's why I'm so passionate about my credit repair customers. They have no cheerleaders. They have no hope sometimes. Their kids want a house. They're living in an apartment. I mean, that's like the most joyous time of my life every time I bought a house, or a bigger car to fit all my kids in, or whatever the case may be. And man, we take that for granted. And like it's not good that we do. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably going a little deeper than what I should.
No, yeah, I love it. It's great. What is I was going to say, so credit repair, you talked about this earlier, how, it's kind of got a bad rap is what you said. And obviously, well, there's a few things, right? Number one, if you're really good at it, like you are, and especially with a lot of integrity, it's easy for yourself to set yourself apart from the rest, right?
Absolutely.
To come to the top. Not that it's easy to, in business, it's never easy to get to the top, but then it's another thing to like stay on the top. What are some ways that you really, differentiate yourself and your company and how you lead your employees and your team to do that, to not only separate yourself, but maybe even to, is there a vision for you to help to improve how people look at your industry?
I'm on some boards, and I'm actually getting my expert witness, credit expert witness license right now, where I can be an expert witness in a courtroom for creditors, credit bureaus, or just people suing the credit bureaus, whatever. And then, we've got some groups like NASCO, and there's some other groups that we, work with Congress and all this stuff in. But yeah, I'm a big advocate of that. But at the end of the day, it's not, I don't like the name that the industry has just because people will be afraid to reach out to us or whatever. But at the end of the day, I really don't care what people say or what they feel about me. Cause like I wear my shirt all the time. Like people say, what do you do? I sell credit repair. It's not like I own the financial services industry. I sell credit repair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like even when I sold mobile homes, it was like, I sell trailer house. I sell mobile homes.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the real estate industry. I sold very specific mobile homes, you know, and like, I have no shame in that.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where I want, you know, the back of my shirt says 700 credit repair and I wear it all the time.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just, I really don't care what the perception. It does hurt the industry and it does hurt who I can help, but I just want to help people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So some people will come right at me in my messenger account and say, hey, you know, that don't work, blah, 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 it's a scam. I mean, you know, I'll pay one of my guys if you want to hear about it, no problem. And if you don't, I mean, you're just not ready. If that's I hate to say it, but if that's the shallow mindset that you have, you know, shame on everybody who screwed you in the past. There's good dudes left out there. There's good companies left out there. A lot of them. I'm not the only one, you know, but you gotta believe it and have a little faith and a little confidence and a little damn trust to begin with, just in life in general, every time you wake up every morning, I think, you know?
Yeah. That's a good spot to finish this up. I'd like to do that. Number one, leave with the listeners, you know, what is the biggest one or two characteristics or leadership traits that you really think would help them just like it has you? And I know you hit on consistency pretty hard and being one of those, but yeah, what are some things that you would leave the listeners with, you know, especially the entrepreneurs, business owners, maybe were in the place that you were in your transition to throwing those signs out in the yard and do whatever you had to do to get to where you are today?
If I'm a real big advocate of, if you say you're going to do something, do it at any cost. And if you don't think you can do it, then don't say you can. And if you know you can't, just say you can't. You know, things fester.
I love
Problems only get bigger. So if I can't tell the truth at the moment, I may as well address it right now. You know, that uncomfortable conversation, a buddy calling up wanting a job. I don't like, oh yeah, call me next week. I'm not that guy. It's like, man, I would love to hire you. However, we've tried this in the past. You have a drug problem. So like, until that changes, please don't call me anymore. I mean, that's just off the cuff, whatever.
Yeah.
These conversations are hard, but I don't like a to-do list. I like, if your phone rings, answer it and handle it. I mean, I like touching things one time. In fact, my mentor, Scott, he was a big, you know, touch things one time. If a file comes across your desk, handle it. Yeah. If you've got to have an uncomfortable conversation with a customer because maybe we didn't get an item deleted and maybe I overpromised them, well, you got to look back. I shouldn't have overpromised them to begin with. And had nipped it in the butt and not done it, we wouldn't even have this problem. Well, now that we do have this problem, don't put it off any longer because he's already unhappy. Pick up the phone and call him. Yeah. You know, so it's like touch things one time. And I've worked and living down a to-do list. And I always do the things I hate doing the most first early. I'm a morning guy. So like if it's like call so-and-so and say we need this, do this, call Nate and say I can't be on the show or I can't, whatever. Like I do the things I don't want to do first and then get that knocked out and then I'm ready to go and the rest of the day's good. But, you know, Charles Swindoll has an attitude speech thing I posted all the time. And it's, you know, whether I'm touching the good thing or a bad thing first or touching things one time, it's also all attitude. And when you walk in when you walk in a car dealership, a sales, your home in the morning, I'm the one who tickles my kid and gets him fired up. It's like, man, a good attitude is contagious and there's fewer and fewer people that really possess that and carry that. And like life's 90% of, you know, it's not really what happens to us. It's our response, how we react. I mean, I don't care if you drop a bomb on top of me. There's going to be some good in it somewhere. There has to be. And I'm going to find it if there is, you know. It's just like carrying the right attitude and doing what you say you're going to do. And especially on employees, if they ask you to do something, like don't put that stuff off. You know, I've learned that the hard way. I mean, you know, it's hard for you to be the guy carrying the sword for your staff and your people when you can't even return a text, a phone call, answer a question, call a customer for them, tell them you'll get back with them and don't, or whatever. So, you know, it's just the older I get, the more all those values just kind of tie together. And I guess when I lose that, I'll go to work for someone else, or I'll call it quits and just go sell credit repair for food or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. I love that. That's there was a lot of nuggets in there and a lot of it's gold. That was good. So thank you. Why don't you give the listeners real quick, and then you talked about a book and maybe any other way that people could get a hold of you, and we're going to put all this in the show notes for everybody as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm on Facebook at Billy Alt 700. My company page is 700 Credit Repair. You can call us at 972-279-0444. What we do is we basically work with anybody who needs credit, but we specialize in people that are trying to purchase a home or an auto or something like that. And they're trying to get their score raised as quickly as possible. So we basically utilize the consumer laws, remove negatives, add positives, build credit up. So yeah, I've got a book. It's called Constructing Success. It's on my Facebook page. Our website's 700 Credit Repair. So, we do a free credit analysis, like I said. So if anybody that is out there needs one, you don't have to sign up with us. We'll kind of lay out the game plan, tell you what to do, and tell you if we can help you or not. But even if you haven't seen your credit in a while, hit us up. You can message me or whatever on Facebook, and we'll do that for you. And I'd love to help out if I can.
I love it. And is that just in Texas or countrywide?
We're nationwide. Yep, we do every state except Georgia. Georgia has some different laws. You have to be a brick and mortar in their state, but every state other than Georgia we can do.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, man. Really appreciate it, and look forward to getting to know you better and better here over the next.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really love what you're doing too, man. I love what you're doing.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
All right, bro. Bye.